Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. Let's get them picks in.
Oh, yeah, we got picks. We got final notes here before tomorrow's big game here. Thursday Night Football coming up, of course, tomorrow night with the Giants and Cowboys going at it here, guys, at MetLife Stadium. For those who aren't going to the game, heads up. Barring any issues weather-wise tomorrow, we'll go over that in a second here. We will be live the entire game, guys. This is going to be a goofball first here. The entire game. From start to finish, pre-game, post-game, all game, the game, we will be on. So, best place to watch that is going to be YouTube, but of course, we'll have it on Facebook, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile. Oh, yeah. And if I remember right, we'll actually put it on Instagram for once. I know I always forget to put it on Instagram because it's such a pain in the butt to put things on Instagram, but we'll try. So, that when I say weather permitting here, guys, for those of y'all who aren't watching the news and are living under a rock, there's a massive hurricane coming through the Florida waters and the Gulf there. So I am not in the path of it, but I am to the east of it. Therefore, who knows what's going to happen? We're already getting a tropical storm force winds tomorrow and like 8 feet of flooding in the area and all. So I should not be directly really impacted too much there, but I might lose power. So obviously, if I lose power, I can't stream Amish style. It's just not an option. So, be kind of cool if it did. Imagine the technology there.
Right? How much butter or something you would have to turn in order.
Seriously. Make like 10 shoe fly pies per minute to do that.
Yeah.
Those things are delicious. Absolutely delicious. So let's get into the game here, guys. So first off, we had a little issue potentially at the kicker position. Brian Daboll was a little hesitant to say who'd be the kicker. Well, guess what, guys? Greg Joseph kicking again versus the Cowboys. And how did Daboll announce it? He just said, yeah, it's going to be Greg.
So kind of him.
What a vote of confidence there. Good job, Daboll. Way to go ahead and get the guys going. Whoa. Wow. Like, you got to imagine if you're him, like, okay, that sounds like there was just no other option available at the time.
Daboll. It's like, yeah, that's what it is.
Honestly, if I'm him, I got to be wondering, like, if something happens bad for him in this game at all, like he misses a kick or, doesn't quite go right up the uprights and the extra points like he did there last week, that they have some extra days to bring in some extra people to take a look, guys. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if that extra look is taken. That's for damn sure the way things are going. But we'll see. For at least for another week, Greg Joseph will be the kicker here going against the Dallas Cowboys here on Thursday Night Football. Let's talk about some roster moves, though. We do have some roster moves to talk about here. So first off, we have Lawrence Cager going to the IR, and Joel Wilson is signed at that point. So first on Cager, sent to the IR on Tuesday, undisclosed injury. They didn't tell us why. He's going to have to remain there for at least 4 games, though, because he is in that IR designated with the option to return there. So he may be coming back. We'll see. Haven't really seen much of him this year, obviously, in general, though. So it's not like it's like a massive loss here for us. We signed, as I said, Joel Wilson. Guy who was 6'4", 242 pounds, undrafted rookie free agent from Central Michigan last year in 23. In his last season there was Central Michigan, 9 games, 44 catches, 445 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So not a bad year. Obviously, some injuries at that point. That's why only 9 games, but overall, the outcome in that, I mean, that's not too shabby. You figure there's 17 games in an NFL season. He'd be on pace for, 800 some odd yards at that point there in that. So, that's not too shabby. Now, I have to preface it with the fact that that's at Central Michigan. It's not like he was facing the top talent of the NCAA. There was no trips to Georgia or Alabama. Like, You got to look at that with these guys. Pass catching tight end who can block, but who's considered a below average blocker in college, again, at Central Michigan. There's a big jump there. Spent 1 month with the Saints last offseason, then 3 with the Bills practice squad, but was never in a regular season game. Had spent time with the Packers this offseason on their training camp and all, but was cut before the season started. So, yeah, not expecting a lot, guys, out of him. I hate to sound negative about a guy we just signed, but we're gonna be his 4th team, and he hasn't played in a game yet. Yeah. That's not like, whoa, thank God we got Joe Wilson.
Such a photo conference over here.
I'm just like, listen, I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit to click, especially when you're coming from a smaller school. So I'm not going to say like it's a dumb signing. We don't know anything about him really. But I'm not going to sit here and get excited either about a guy who's been on 3 teams. We're going to be his 4th and hasn't appeared in the game. That's not exactly, a glowing resume there, guys.
No.
We shall see what happens here. But, yeah, for now, at least, Joe Wilson, at least for a couple weeks, we'll see what happens with Cager and his injury. But at least for a couple weeks, probably, will be a New York Giant. We got another roster move here. This one is one I think we kind of expected here to a certain degree. Jacob Johnson, the fullback / tight end, has been waived yet again. This is his never-ending streak of being waived, being brought back up again, and waived and practice squatted and put back up again to waived. And this guy is like got more wave than a freaking 1992 Toyota. It's insanity. Like he's just going off the roster to the practice squad, off the everything, back to the active. He's appeared at a couple games. Hasn't really been as big a impact on the running game as I expected to. They really haven't put him in much, but he's gone again. So I have no more fullback yet again there. Now, the reason we did cut him is because Ty Summers, the linebacker, is out of games that you can elevate him from the practice squad. So if we want to keep him and we want to bring him up again, you're going to have to go ahead and put him on the active roster flat out, not just elevate him for the game. So the Giants are doing that. Obviously, we still have the injuries at tight end the linebacker position to our guys like Matthew Adams and Carter Coughlin, who are the typical special teams guys. So Summers is kind of taking on that role for now, at that point being one of those type of guys there. So we need the spot. Let's be honest, Johnson, up and down, up and down, up and down. He ain't going anywhere. If we want to sign him back again to the practice squad tomorrow, we probably could. And he's not going to complain because he's that guy. He's that guy you don't have to worry about leaving unless you want him gone. So let's get into the injury report here, guys, for tomorrow night, because we do got to talk about this. I know a lot of Giants fans are a little worried because we're going to have some issues in secondary. Well, guess what, guys? We're not the only ones. So don't worry too much. It's kind of a level playing field. We'll get into that. First off, out for the game. Drew Phillips is going to be out for the game, and so is Adoree Jackson, both with calf injuries. Now, Adoree Jackson, let's be honest, guys, he hasn't really seen the field a ton as a Giant this year. There's a reason he was around, going into the season there, basically. Not exactly the Adoree Jackson he was a couple of years ago. But that being said, again, he's better in presence. He's a guy that still does see the field at that point. You still want him healthy for the game. The big loss, though, is Drew Phillips. So, Drew Phillips has been a guy that, I got to say, he's exceeded expectations so far, probably, for his rookie year, at least for the first, obviously just a couple weeks here. But for those first couple weeks, I feel like he definitely has exceeded those expectations, because we talked about him being a project going into it. And I still think his coverage is going to, be something he's going to improve over time with there. But when it boils down to how he is in the run, he's been very impressive in that role there. So, I've been pretty happy with the way he's been as a rookie so far. And so he's definitely going to get missed. Questionable for the game, Darius Slayton with that thumb injury he suffered last week against the Browns. And the good news, I can at least give you guys some good news in this.
Ooh.
Nick McLeod, there can be only one. He will be in the game. So you lose Adoree Jackson, who wasn't really playing that much. He's only played a quarter of the defensive snaps so far in the season. We lose him, and we lose Drew Phillips. We gain Nick McLeod. So we'll have to see what happens in the game, how they want to line things up. But obviously, you'd expect Banks, McLeod, and Cordell Flott to be the three out there primarily at that point. I think you'd move Flott into the inside potentially, but we'll see what Daboll wants to do. He's both Flott and McLeod in the inside this offseason here. So we'll have to see which way they want to go now. But I do think that in the end, we're not going to miss too much at that point. We'll miss a little bit in the run game, but let's be honest, guys. This is not a run, powerful run team. This is a team that you want running the ball. We've talked about that. Like you don't want this team being, the one that's passing like crazy. You want them running the ball.
Yeah, if you're going to have these kind of injuries, like this is the game you want to have in. When you're talking about your number one running back that you're facing against is Zeke Elliott, whose best years passed him 5 years ago. Yeah.
I'm not afraid of Zeke or Rico. Like, I ain't. And I don't think Giants fans should be whatsoever. Rico. Suave. Dakota says he wants some hot takes. Here, Dakota, the Eagles suck. There's your hot take. Gotta go after the Eagles fans for weekend. Let's get into the Cowboys here. So doubtful for the game. Marquise Bell is out with doubtful with an ankle injury, and Kalen Carson, corner, is also doubtful with a shoulder injury as well. Everybody else is scheduled to play. Now, Bell has been mostly a special teamer for them, so not a huge loss, but still there is a little bit of a loss there. Did only miss 9 snaps on defense this season, but he's had 2 tackles already on special teams, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but that would put him in double-digit special teams tackles for the season, which would at that point be something impressive for the year at that point. Keep in mind, there's not that many snaps in special teams, guys. Carson, though, that's the big loss. So Kalen Carson was a guy they drafted at that point to be a developmental type of corner for them. He's had to start because of the injury with Deron Bland being out with the foot injury. He's played 98% of the defensive snaps last week, guys. 98%. So, yeah, he's out there pretty often. I would expect Andrew Booth and Israel I'm going to say it's wrong probably. I always mispronounce this guy's name. Mukweu. There we go. Mukweu. That's a tongue twister. So Mukweu was a 6th-round pick of the Cowboys back in 21, has just 19 defensive snaps on the season there, is primarily a guy you see on special teams. Booth is the guy who was a 2nd-round pick for the Vikings back in 22, and just never panned out there. Signed with the Cowboys this offseason and has yet to appear in a game. So you're talking about the fact that they're not just missing Carson. They're missing Carson and they're missing Bland. They're missing where they're going to the backup of the backups now at the corner spots, guys. So I'm looking at the big thing I keep seeing right now is Giants fans going, oh, no, we don't have Drew Phillips. Oh, no, we don't have Dory Jackson. Oh, no, our secondary is in trouble. I would argue, guys, that our secondary is better off, health-wise at least, than the Cowboys right now. Because Diggs, we know, is on the injury report to start the week. Ends up he's going to play. There's no problem there. We kind of expected that part of it. But he's not necessarily 100%. Even if he's 90%, whatever, I'll still take a little bit of advantage with him going against neighbors after all the trash talking those two are doing this offseason. But now you're going into, instead of having Bland, who had a very big breakout season last year, you go down to Carson, who was a project coming out of college, to now he's injured. You're going into guys that couldn't even step on the field when Bland was injured. Like, guys, this should be a big thing for us here potentially. And, we'll have to see with Slayton what happens with him. He's got that thumb injury. He might not be playing. But whoever's that second outside person, whether it be Hyatt, whether they put Wandale out there on certain plays, whatever the case may be, this is a scenario where they're going to go ahead and get a chance to compete against very low-end competition here in this. This is a spot that Daniel Jones, as much as he keeps throwing the ball to neighbors, and listen, guys, throw the ball to neighbors. I'm not going to suggest taking him out of the game plan in any way, shape, or form. I am not scared of Diggs whatsoever after what, our least favorite first-round pick, Kadarius Toney, did to him a couple years ago. But The second wide receiver spot's got to be a spot to look at with this the way things are going, guys. So hopefully they take full advantage of that.
Well, yeah.
It's that time, Rob.
Ooh, is it that
It's
time?
that time.
It's the time.
The fourth week of the NFL is drawing nigh.
It is coming.
It's time for the preview. Week 4, we're doing picks, we're doing spreads, we're doing over-unders. We're giving you guys all the news from every single game and what we think is going to happen here. Now, to recap the season here so far, because we gave you guys the updates last time here, but when we did that, we hadn't finished the Monday night games yet, so we had to see where things went there. Rob and I are both 50-50 for the year so far through 3 weeks on the overall winners of the games. On the spread picks, I'm at 56%. He's at 44%. On the I'm sorry. I'm giving you last week overall here. I'm sorry. On the season, I'm at 50% winners overall. You're at 52%. I'm at 50% on the spread picks overall. You're at 40%. I'm at 52% on the over-unders. You're at 50. And we're close on the trifectas, but I don't count the percentage of that. That's going to be a low percentage no matter what. So right now, as it turns out, I have a 9-point lead on you, Rob. But we all know how last year turned out when I had the lead and you're going to beat me in the last couple weeks there. So I got to keep my game going here strong so I can keep on getting this going here. So let's get into our picks here for the very first game, which, guys, is us. It's our game. And if you want to hear more about the game, you know what you should do? You should watch the episode we shot there on Monday night. We did a whole preview of the game. So we got the Cowboys going into the Giants. We got the Cowboys are a 5.5-point underdog. And the over-under is 45.5. Rob, what you got? O'Reilly's?
O'Reilly's. Giants. Over. I think damage secondaries. I think Giants, baby. Let's go, G-Man. G-Man.
Ooh, get a little confident there. So you're saying Giants over, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm 1 out of 3 with you there. My concern is the fact that Daniel Jones sucks usually on primetime games. Like, let's be honest here, guys. He sucks against the Cowboys in general, but he's been really bad in primetime games. The Cowboys absolutely whooped our butts the last 2 times we faced them the last year. Until the Giants prove to me they can hang with them, I just have a little bit of caution. As a Giants fan, I want that to happen, obviously. But for this purpose here, we're talking about what we think is going to happen. And if we're betting on the game, my mind is going to go win over my heart as far as money. So I got the Cowboys to win. I got the Giants to still beat them on the spread, though, at that point, because I think it's going to be a close game. And the reason I think that is I got the under on the points. I think it's going to be a much lower scoring game than a lot of people think. This Cowboys team has not been putting up points in offense. They're basically been kind of similar to us in the fact that it's Dak to CD, and that's their whole offense. They can't run the ball. Their other receivers haven't done too much there. Jake Ferguson might be their second receiver at this point, basically, the way things are going. So
probably not wrong, which we're not good against the run anyway.
Yeah. So therefore, I'm going with the under at that point because I'm hoping the Giants stick to the plan at that point. Run. Force them to run. Keep it a low-scoring game and make the right moves and capitalize on a mistake or two. And hopefully I'm wrong and the Giants pull out that victory.
Don't worry, Drew. You'd be wrong. It's fine.
I hope so. I'll be very happy to take the L. Go for it, Rob. What's next?
Fantastic. Up next, you got the Saints going into Atlanta playing the Falcons. The Saints are favored in this game by 1.5. Again, show a little respect to the Falcons at home. And the over-under is 42.5 points. So, Saints have been playing great football. Atlanta's got off to a slow start, but they got some good wins. The defense has stepped up. I think the Saints showed the true colors last week, so I'm taking the Falcons to win this game. Obviously, they're going to cover because 1.5 points is not enough for me to switch my mind. And I'm taking the under in a very defensive game, not a shootout.
Rob, we are complete opposites in this one. The Saints I'm keeping the confidence here. Listen, They beat the credit of the Panthers, which again is the Panthers. I get it. They beat the credit of the Cowboys. They hung with the Eagles for most of the game there and lost it in a very close fashion there at the last couple of minutes there. I think in this case here, the Saints go back to their ways, become a little bit more offensive juggernaut kind of style here against the Falcons, which is a good defense, and it'd be a good message to the rest of the NFL if they do that. That's for damn sure. So I got Saints winning. I got the Saints again, covering because a 1.5 point, like you said, that can do anything to me. And I got the over on the points there because I don't think it's going to be like a 40-50 point, kind of thing from them. But I think it's going to be one of those games where they get 30 points or so is what's going to happen probably, as Dakota says, was not that close to the Eagle fan. You guys won 15-12, Dakota. If that's not close, I don't know what is.
So you keep on going back to that Cowboys game. That the Cowboys are averaging over 45 points scored against them per game this year. So to say that they're a juggernaut by beating up the worst team in the NFL last year, beating up an offense that has not played good at all, and they played good against. They played good last week, but they wound up losing against the Saints. So, I don't have faith to say that they're a juggernaut in offense. I think it was, like I said, week 2 or after we did the recap, you beat up on the team you're supposed to beat, and then you did what you did to the Cowboys, but they always do after they win a big game.
I don't know. I went into the season very high in the Falcons. Remember, we talked about them. I said they might be kind of the team that came out of the South there as the champion even, but
still can.
I haven't, and they still can, of course. I have not been really too impressed with what I've seen from the Falcons, really. I mean, at least in, now in the season, they lose to the Steelers, and I know the Steelers have 3-0, don't get me wrong, but they're probably the weakest 3-0 team out there. Then, they lose to the Eagles, 1-point fashion, kept close, obviously. So that's not a crazy one there at that point. They lose to the Chiefs. I was thinking this is a team that's going to be able to hang with the bigger, dogs there of the NFL. And I'm not.
If you watch, you would have probably before the season started looked at that schedule said 1 and 2. So I don't think it's that hard. We would have looked at
no, honestly, I would have expected them to beat the Eagles, and not just because Dakota's in the chat. I would have expected that because that would have sent a message both ways. And it sent a message that the Eagles aren't as good as people think they are, which I still think that. But it would have sent a message as well that the Falcons are ready to hang with the people that are considered the bigger teams there,
Oh, yeah. But that's why we're keeping tally.
Yeah. So, all righty. Next game. We got the Bengals at the Panthers. So the Bengals are let's see here. Bengals are giving up 4.5 in this. It's 48.5 is the over under. And obviously this is a cluster of a freaking season for the Bengals so far. They're starting off there going 0-3. Who would have had 0-3 at that point for them? That's crazy. That's crazy. And then you got the Panthers. They start off 0-2. And then they go ahead and destroy the Raiders. And Dakota's killing me. Dakota, okay, I made a mistake. Move on.
But he's right because they did.
He is right. The Falcons did win the Eagles by 1. Okay, I'm misremembering the game. I still am not that impressed by the Falcons. Anyway, the Brewers. I was at the Bengals and the Panthers. So, listen, it's the game that I wouldn't put any money on at this point because you got a team that destroyed the Raiders, who were looking pretty good the first 2 weeks. I mean, obviously they beat the Ravens, who haven't won a single game yet now still, but it's still a solid roster on that Ravens team. Then you got the Bengals, who, again, lost to the Patriots to start the season, haven't looked good at all. I don't even know what's up with Joe Burrow's wardrobe, but oh my God, he looked really weird going into that game last week.
Hey, it looks like you're lesbian ant walking into the barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a hard game for me to call at that point. Now, the win, listen, all day long should be the Bengals. I don't think that's a difficult choice. The spread, the over-under is where I'm a little bit like, what the hell to do, because you expect the Bengals to do their thing to a certain degree because they've done it for so many years. But at this point, yeah, no, I'm going to go Panthers. I think the Panthers will beat that. I think it's going to be a close game just because of how bad the Bengals are playing. And I'm going to go over on the points because both teams have the ability to put up some points. You saw what the Panthers did last week there when they got an actual quarterback, Andy Dalton, and an actual adult-sized quarterback in the room. And I'm at the point now where, like I said, I wouldn't bet any money on this game, but Rob and I do not take games off. We bet on every single one of them, guys. So we're going to go ahead and do Bengals, Panthers, over where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of facts what you said, but you also got to take into consideration Joe Burrow football, that since he's coming to the NFL with that Bengals team, they have at best been 500. They have always come out to a slow start and always teetered on the playoffs if going to the playoffs. Like, even when Joe Burrow wound up not playing for them, they almost went to the playoffs last year. So to count this team out, you just can't do it. They're gonna win this game. I think it's a bounce back. Obviously, we talked about this about the Panthers. You come back, you throw up some big points against this Raiders team, and you're like, is it true? Like, are they good? I thought it was Bryce Young's the next Messiah, but I think this is a get right game for the Bengals. They start off the season a little banged up, a little bit more than what people realized. I think between what's going on with Jamar Chase, you had an injured Joe Burrow come back, first game off the season. I think it's now you're into week 4. I think things are going to start going right for him. And I also took the over in this game. So I went Bengals over.
I feel like watching this, unfold this season, I can go, if the Bengals just win, it's a get right at this point. Kind of like what the Giants did last week, because we won that game. It wasn't a completely pretty game for the Giants. But if you listen to the way the fan base is talking now, it's like, oh, we won a game. Like, we win this one. Now we're back to 500. We can do this. Now we're getting to the playoff picture at that point. Like, it's amazing how week to week we're like NFL fans, and it's not just Giant fans. I know we kind of amongst our own fan base have kind of a reputation for being kind of a little bipolar like that. It's NFL fans in general. Like, if they win, okay, they go 1-3, and they go next week and win again. Now they're 2-3. Okay, now things are back on pace at that point where they can get back to winning football. One win makes a huge difference, and it doesn't matter how much they win by. Just winning the one game will change that entire mindset for that team. So, next up.
Next up, you got the Rams, who just came off this great win going into Chicago to play the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. Who was given 3 points in this game. And the over-under is at 41 points. I think this is going to be a lackluster game. There's a lot of injuries on the LA side of the football. Going into Chicago, who's not getting the offense moving right, but their defense has been playing pretty good football. I'm going to say great football, but pretty good football.
Yeah.
The one thing I would bet in this game is the under, but from there, I would probably go to El Paso when it comes to your money. But I'm going balls here. I think this is the game where the Rams are going to lose, and not because they don't have talent. It's just that their defense isn't going to do enough to stop a bad Bears offense, but the Bears defense is going to do enough to stop a beat up, lackluster Rams offense right now.
Do you know who has the most passing yards in a single game so far this season?
Who is that?
It's Caleb Williams, who had it last week. 363 yards against the Colts there. But guess what, guys? He also threw 2 picks. Did not look good. He just threw the ball a lot. His completion percentage was only 1 point higher than it was the prior week. It was a volume effort. I've heard a lot of people talking a little more positive. Oh, maybe he's turned a corner. No, he just threw the ball more. The more you throw it, the more you get yards. It's a very simple science at that point. It's not difficult to do the math there. I still, there's just something like, I feel like this team is like snake bitten at this point. Like week 1, they were set up perfectly by their defense, to have a win against not a very good team in Tennessee. And, then they lose to the Texans. Okay, you kind of expect that at that point. That's not a big deal at that point. But last week even, wasn't those interceptions? That game might have been different. That might have been different against the Colts. And there's just something about a team that can't find a way to win. As a Giant fan, I'm well aware of this.
I was about to say.
Yeah, and I just feel like they're that team right now. They just don't know how to win. The Rams, meanwhile, led by Sean McVay, led by Matt Stafford, they know how to win. Now, their defense is something that does scare me a little bit, and not in the positive way at that point. I feel like they have been a team that's gone and lost a little bit of their way on defense to a certain degree there. And I think losing Raheem Morris to the their head coaching job at the Falcons has been a big loss for them. I think that you look up like the Cardinals game, perfect example, gave up 41 points. 41 points. And I get the Falcons, obviously the Cardinals have, Kyler Murray back this year. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously in the offseason. They had the draft there. That's still not a great team. You gave up 41 points. So it scares me a little what's going to happen here, potentially. And I'm with you. I wouldn't put any money on this game either. But I'm going to go with the Rams to win. I'm going to go with the Bears to cover in a very close game. And I'm going to go the under. Because I just think that the opportunity is going to be there to put up the points. I don't think that Caleb Williams knows how to put the points up yet. And that's the problem. This Bears team has trouble getting out of their own way.
2 out of 3 points ain't bad.
Exactly. So, we got the Vikings at the Packers, the NFC North battle. Who would have thought the way this would go? Oof. And this is a game that, guys, we're recording this obviously on a Wednesday night. Good luck trying to figure out on a Wednesday night how to do with this game here, to be honest with you, because a lot of this is going to depend on, is Jordan Love going to be there?
All reports are saying that he is.
Yeah, and he's limited in practice today. He said he's progressing there. He said last week he was actually extremely close to playing against the Titans. Sure, Malik Willis is very happy he didn't, so we get to beat up his old team there. But if he plays, it's a much closer game. And I'm going to go under the assumption he's going to play. And because of that, as much as their start has been absolutely magical, probably for Vikings fans who obviously went into the season very dejected, losing J.J. McCarthy, losing, a couple of guys in the secondary, including one to a horrific car accident. I mean, that's like luck that, nobody has in the NFL, losing what they kind of offseason they had, and it's a great story. But the story's got to end. It's time for the Packers to win, take control of the division. Packers to win. Obviously, I'm picking the Packers in the over-under because it's only 2.5 points. That's nothing. I'm going to take 2.5 points all day long. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the under on this as well because it's 43.5. But guys, Jordan Love's coming back off an injury. I can't expect a blowout game like that when you're coming off an injury. And the Packers defense is pretty good, so I expect them to kind of hold their own a little bit here against those Vikings. So I'm going to go with Packers, and under.
Yeah. I agree a lot with you on this one here, but I'm taking the Packers to win because it's an assumption that Love is playing, but you also got to remember that they're talking about Darno is limited practice. There's also different offensive guys that were limited practice as well. JJ, I believe. So you have to take caution. Their second string quarterback is possibly limited. So what happens if he gets hurt in this game? So I'm taking the Packers to win. I'm taking the Packers to cover. It's a divisional game. It's in Lambeau Field, which just going to Lambeau, all that cheese you have to smell. It is hard to win in Lambeau. But I'm taking the over because as good as the defense on both sides of that ball has been playing, the offense is where this is going to be won in a close shootout. Just kind of how these teams play each other. I see it being more like that 27-24, 24-21, which puts me perfectly right at that over. So
I'm sorry, they lost me after cheese. I got hungry.
Cheese. I took Packers in the over.
I want some cheese here. So, see, unpopular opinion sports in the chat there. So, what's good, fellas? What's up, everybody? If you guys haven't yet, follow that channel as well. We always like to support other good content creators as well. So, Deb says Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels start to look like a repeat of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Number 2 pick is going to be better than number 1 pick. You know,
it's funny. It's like 2 goofballs said something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like some smart people said that Jaden Daniels is better than Caleb Williams. But I will say this: volume or not, still getting over 300 yards. Bryce Young, I don't think ever did that in his career. I won't go that far with him. And we still said he was going to be a good, an okay, decent quarterback in this league. I wouldn't say good. We didn't say good, but he'd still be a starting quarterback in this league. I just don't think he's not the Bear Messiah like they're making him seem like. That's for damn sure. And then Kelsey, of course, being the Packers fan, says, "I like the way you guys think."
I have Packers to lose in the under. Sorry, that's just
change our pick now. Change the pick.
Oops.
All right.
Up next,
Rob, go for it.
Oh, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars who just can't get it done. Looking like the L'Oreal version of Daniel Jones behind center there. Going into better Houston.
That contract of DJ look when you look at like Trevor Lawrence, when you look at like Deshaun Watson, like granted, it's not a good contract, but every so often you look at one of those contracts and you go, could be worse.
Yeah, maybe this year's not so bad. But you got Trevor Lawrence and the Jags traveling to Houston to play the Texans and bring it up. Yeah, Mr. Stroud himself. The Texans are giving them 7 in this game. And the over-under is 45 points. This game's almost a no-brainer. The way that the Texan has been playing, it's a divisional game, so you have to respect when they play each other, no matter who it is. But you got to take the Texans. The Jags have not come off to a good start. The past few years under Trevor Lawrence, they start off a lot better, at least 500, but they don't get blown out by the Bills and just not showing up. So I'm taking the Texans to win this game, but I'm taking the Jags to actually cover because just as statistically speaking, when you're betting and the spread's over 5.5 points thus far this year, your odds are going against the team that's giving up more than 5.5 points. So I'm taking the Jags because I'm going to go with my mathematical skills here. And I'm going to take mathematician better. And I'm taking the over in this game just because both these defenses have let up about 30 points each thus far coming into this game. So that gives you an average about 60 points is going to be put up. Do I think it's going to be 60? No, but I think they're going to get enough to get over that 50 mark.
So I think the big issue going on right now is Trevor Lawrence misses his security blanket. It's like having the shampoo without the conditioner right now. Like,
so much static in the hair.
Evan Ingram has been out, guys. And I think he's missing him. I mean, guys, he had 114 catches last year. I know Giants fans, we kind of remember him with the old ways he was at that point, dropping balls left and right and being injured all the time. Well, the injured part maybe still sticks, but
yeah, I was about to say.
He's a lot better of a player, and he's been healthy the last couple of years too as well, but he is injured right now. He's still not practicing. I don't think he's going to be in the game based on what I'm seeing right now. And if that's the case, and the Jaguars have another repeat of what they did last week, guys, Texans under. Because I think that if they do that, like you can get a decent offensive output from the Texans and still get under if the Jaguars' offense is as bad as it looked last week. That was an ugly game for them.
It was a terrible game. But you know what happened when you said the same thing about the Bills? They still won the over.
Let's see. Listen, I'm not always right, but I'm right more than half the time my picks, and that's the correct part.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Sauce. All right. Up next, it's your turn. I'm about to take over there.
I was about to say.
Oof.
Taking my spot here. You really want to talk about the Steelers and the Colts pretty bad, I can see. Steelers at the Colts here. Colts are listen, coming off a good win. They really are. But you know what I'm doing? I'm riding that Mike Tomlin train, guys. That guy finds a way to win. It's crazy. And the Colts, honestly, they're not doing what I expect them to do in offense so far this year. Like, Anthony Richardson's been doing good as far as like deep throws, but he's been inconsistent on the short stuff there, and it's really kind of hurt some of the drives these Colts have been trying to get going at that point. They're facing a really good defense, and really good defenses have a way of taking the big shots away. That's going to make them rely on the short stuff. So I got the Steelers to win this. The Colts are being given 2 points. And to me, that's not enough. I'm still going with these Steelers at that point. And I'm going to go with the under. This is going to be a low-scoring game, guys. This is going to be a game that, like, someone's going to win that's in, 14, 17 kind of points. I think it's going to be that low. I really do.
Yeah. I think it's a very low-scoring game. I think you're right. I think this is going to be a defensive game. So whoever wins, it's going to be a very low-scoring game. But I'm jumping off that Tomlin train. Haven't been on all year. I knew he was going to get those points. But you know who you did talk about was JT, and not from Home Improvement, because he's going to show up in this game. He showed up last week. Yes. JT. But the Steelers, they have allowed 89 points against the Falcons. They've allowed 53 points against the Broncos, which we know is trash. And they've allowed 53 points against the Chargers, who also didn't have the best running back with Herbert in week 1. So, week 3. So, JT is going to be the star of this game in a slow-led running game. And there's probably going to be a lot of field goals. It's very boring. Don't bet. Just the under.
Yes. Under is probably the safest pick on this whole thing at that point in that game.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Want to talk about another safe pick for the under? Is you got the Broncos going into MetLife to play the Jets, the Aaron Jets. The Jets are allowing the Broncos to take 7.5 points off the board for the betting styles. And the over-under is 38.5 points. I'm sorry, my dog sounded like a grown-ass man walking in my room. I got scared for a second. Thought it was a ghost. The Jets had a coming-out party last week. They looked good. Aaron Rodgers was like, started throwing the ball, listening to that song with, ironically, P. Diddy, but then he turned it off before he got canceled. I'm coming out, coming. I was going to say Mariah and Biggie Smalls, but then I realized it's P. Diddy, so I'm saying it.
We're not talking about him.
Taking that back. So the Jets are going to have a good time at home. But I'm going to take the Broncos in this spread here between how they looked last week and, as I just said a few games prior, 5.5 points is about that sweet spot, especially the way both teams' offense have looked. Like the Jets, they look a lot better. They don't look fantastic. So I'm taking them, and I'm taking the under. Another safe under bet.
Yeah, the question is basically at this point, was last week a fluke? Did the Broncos
which side?
Figure so I'm saying the Broncos, did they figure something out? Because they go from looking like utter poop, to being a really good team. But they beat a team that people started, get a little hopes for there with the Buccaneers, 26-7, guys. Like, it wasn't close at all. Like, they went right out the gates, started 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Like, this was a game that was over very, very quickly. Bo Nix had I won't say a great game, but he had a serviceable game. Had a touchdown there for the very first touchdown of the game. 25 of 36, 216 yards. Very much like a Daniel Jones kind of game there. Kind of like game manager kind of thing, nothing too flashy, but did his thing. I just think this Jets defense, this is one of those games that the Jets defense is going to take over, I feel like. And listen, there's a lot of hype by the Jets defense always, and I think it's probably overhyped, to be very frank with you. But I think that this is one of those games they can take over against a very young rookie quarterback who's already shown some struggled big time when they played the Steelers. That's for damn sure. It's probably the best defense they've played yet. So I'm going to pick the Jets to win. But 7.5 points, guys, that's a freaking massive spread there. and what I think is going to be a lower scoring game. So I'm going to give the Broncos the spread pick at that point there, and I'm going to go the under. So we're the same exact train of thought here.
There we go. We're agreeing on a trifecta right there. Folks,
all right.
Boom.
Boom. Eagles at the Buccaneers, guys. And listen, guys, this is another one of those games I gotta go with my gut, not with my heart. My heart tells me Bucks all day long. My brain's telling me Eagles. And I don't think this Eagles team is as good as they've been the last couple of years, that's for sure. You know, they're closer to the second half of Eagles last year than they are the first half of the Eagles last year. But they're going to be a little pissed off in this game, guys. They got embarrassed by the Buccaneers in the postseason last year. And I think that's going to feed them into where they beat this team here. Because a lot of these guys are the same people coming back. Like there's you got a couple of retirees, obviously, and a couple of changes here and there, but a lot of that core is still there. And they're going to take that personal what happened. So I think the Eagles do win. I think they cover because, you know, they're at that point of giving up 2.5 points. That's not a crazy difference there. I got the under on the 45 as well because look what happened last week, guys. When that defense is on for them, they do pretty decent. So I'm going to go with the under. So I got Eagles under.
Well, we agree on the under. So there's another under pick. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the under picks that we agreed on, and I'm going to put that in Sportsbook, put $5 on it, and see what
there you go.
Is. See how we can do there.
That
would be the goofy line, if you will, or the goofball line. I don't want to get Disney to come after us here, but
well, you know what you could also do with that $5.
Enjoying the show. Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Now that's a segue. That's a segue.
Perfecto. So we'll take the whole pot, like the mortgage, and we're going to put it on that under. Ooh, but I agree. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Eagles are feeling a little saucy about last week, but they're also coming off a win that against a good Saints team, of at least what's looked like a good Saints team. And the Buccaneers are coming off a pretty bad loss, and they're going to want to get back to winning that division. And if they want to win that division, need to win this game. So I think they're going to do enough to squeak by, get that cover, and win this game. Squeaky, squeak, squeak.
Listen, I'm hoping. There's a couple games I hope I'm wrong on. This is one of them. Let's go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Up next, you got the Commanders going into Arizona, playing them Cards. The Cards are giving up 3.5 in this game. The over-under is just a whopper of saying 50.5 points. That's Vegas telling you, hey, bet the under. Let's go to Australia and bet the down under.
They want you to do it. They want you to do it.
They want you to. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get off that under train and go right up on the over because I want me a good old shootout here. And I don't think it's going to be a full shootout. I think it's more of the Cardinals are going to put up 40 points against this Commanders team because I think the Commanders need a get right. I'm sorry, the Chiefs need to get it right game. The Commanders have not been able to stop too much. People are just giving their defense some credit, but they also put up over 30 points against they got 30 points scored against them by the Bengals, who have been struggling. They've also allowed the Giants to put up 3 touchdowns against them, so managed to win.
You want a weird stat? I'm going to give you a weird stat here. The Commanders in the last 2 weeks have scored on every single drive that they didn't kneel down on for 2 weeks.
Good for him.
That's a
lot of great. So if you're in fantasy, and especially doing like some kind of DraftKings or FanDuel, you pick up their kicker because he's been having a good year. That's what that says because they don't have that many touchdowns.
21 of 23 last week, Jaden Daniels. Whew.
Yeah, he didn't. He looked pretty good. But I'm taking the Cards to win this game, and I'm also taking the cover because 3.5 is not enough for me. Even though I'm probably going to lose on that, it might be 3 points difference. But I'm expecting to go. Oh, actually, I'm lying. It's not going to be that close. But yeah, Cards over.
I'm with you 100% on this whole thing. I mean, I listen. I'm impressed by what Jaden Daniels is doing overall. I think he's been doing pretty good for a rookie quarterback. And I think there's going to come a time when things are going to kind of click for him. And it might not be this year. It might be next year. Like some quarterbacks, this year 2, they click all of a sudden. When that thing clicks, dude, he's going to be dangerous. He's going to be really dangerous. But I think he's still young enough. He's still learning enough. He's facing a Cardinals team that can put up some points when they need to. And I think this is one of those they're going to need to. And I think the Cardinals will do it. They'll pull it out. They'll cover this. They'll cover at that point, for the win. And I think the over on the points. So I got Cardinals over.
Very nice. Very nice.
Let's get into the Patriots at the 49ers, which, guys, this. I'm going to give you, this is going to be my pick of the week right here in this game. I'll get to which one of the 3 it is in a minute here. So, guys, the Patriots blasted the Bengals week 1, which is probably still the surprise of the entire NFL season, because everybody pretty much lost their pick 'em. Their suicide league.
The suicide leagues are limited because of this team.
Yeah, like it's absolutely crazy. They go into playing the Seahawks week 2 there in Foxborough, only lose by a field goal in overtime. They got destroyed by the Jets. That's the one bad game. The 49ers, though, guys, almost every single weapon is hurt. Almost every single one. It's crazy. I mean, now you got like Christian McCaffrey's going off to Germany to see some kind of specialist and all at that point. Like, it has not been good for them health-wise. That's for damn sure. Brock Purdy was doing everything he could in that game last week against the Rams. He was going everywhere at that point and just couldn't squeak it out in the end. Brandon Ayuk, when he has 48 yards in a game that Deebo Samuel is out, in a game that George Kittle was out, in a game that Christian McCaffrey was out after he spent that whole damn offseason complaining he wanted more money, needed more money. What'd you do with that money? Because you want more money.
He went to the Golden Corral before the game.
You want more money. That comes with responsibilities. Like, you have to be able to perform now, because we talked about this with Brian Burns. Once you get that big contract, there's expectations that come with that. And he's just not living up to them right now. That's for damn sure. So Patriots are going to still lose this game, guys. The Niners are the better team, even with all the injuries they got. But this is the pick of the week. It's -10, guys. -10 for a team that beat the Bengals and danced into overtime with the Seahawks. 2 out of 3 games, they've looked okay-ish. And what I mean by okay-ish is that's good enough to beat a 10-point spread. So I'm putting the Patriots right there for that one there. And I am going to go the under on the points, because so many weapons are out for the 49ers at that point. And the Patriots, the one thing they can do is they still got a somewhat decent defense, guys. Offense a little suspect, but the defense is still there. So I got Niners to win, Patriots to cover, and the under on the points.
Locked in that trifecta, because I'm agreeing with you 100%. I think the Patriots is one of those sneaky. They're the jobber team of the NFL right now. They're not going to get blown out. They're not the Panthers. They're in every game, and they're going to win some of those games. Like, obviously, week 1 against the Bengals. That's the biggest upset thus far of the year. Either that or the Raiders being the Ravens. But that's besides the point.
What's a little crazy in this whole thing is, so when you see anything outlandish in the spreads and the over-unders and all, that's Vegas saying, we really want you to do this. So a 10-point spread is massive. That's telling people Vegas wants you to go for the Niners. So if you're going to be a beat down by more than 10 points, you expect it to have a higher over-under, though, than 39.5. So that's the weird thing. It's like they're expecting the Patriots to like absolutely nothing, but they're begging you to take the under. So they're better to get it over, but that means they expect it to be under. 39.5 points means they're telling you, we think it's going to be this low, and we're trying to go so low to force you to go over. But if you think it's going to be so low, why do you think it's going to be a 10-point spread? It's just weird. The numbers are weird in this game, guys. Keep an eye on that stuff as it goes. I have a feeling that's going to change. But as of right now, it's Wednesday.
Listen, if you get the Pats right now, giving up a 10 spot or getting a 10 spot, take it because take advantage of it. And I would take the under right away because that's another one that I think is just going to be very low scoring, just staying in there because there's just too many weapons on that Niners.
Staying
alive. Too many injuries on that Niners offense over there. Staying alive.
Hoping you go for that. I'm not hitting that high note. That's for sure.
About to put on my brown shoes. All right, talk about.
We can tell by the way you
brown shoes
to the Patriots.
Yeah, you got the Brownies going into Vegas to play the Raiders.
The Raiders.
We
can't help ourselves. Whenever someone's the Raiders, we have to do it. We have to bourbon it. We can't help ourselves.
No, it's take a drink a bottle of bourbon and smoke a box and a half of Newports.
That's tomorrow. The bourbon.
The Raiders. Yes.
When you're in Florida, you treat a hurricane day like a snow day.
100%. But the Raiders only giving up 1 point in this game, and the over/under is a 37 and a half. Just 37 straight. I almost said a half, but just 37, and it's the second lowest over/under this week. The Raiders looked great against the Ravens, like I just said before, but they have not looked good all year.
Look bad against
Browns.
the Panthers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
See, look, I got my emergency alerts going off right now while we're recording, guys.
Staple down the cats. Make sure they don't fly away.
That's dedication to the show.
Yes. I'm taking the Browns to win this game. 1 point's not a difference maker, so I'm going to take them to cover that in the. I'll put the over. It's supposed to be the under here because I think this is going to be a very low born scoring game. Low. Back to that low.
Yeah. I'm with you on this one here. As far as the under, I got the Raiders winning this thing. I think the Raiders are going to do it. There's just something about the Browns just falling apart here. That's just really.
Listen, I hope you're right, because
really bad. I don't see good things happening for the Browns the way the season's going. I mean, they lose to the Giants. This is a Giants podcast, but you lose to the Giants.
Eek.
Gotta start questioning things. I'm just saying. I mean, who knows? Maybe last week was a turnaround for us at that point there, but how the first 2 weeks went at the point we did not look good. Every now and then, the Giants fall apart.
Turn around, DJ.
I'm just saying, like, again, it's bad. I know as a Giants fan to say it this way, but once you lose to the Giants, I'm like, we'll see if maybe that's turning a corner for us. But yeah, I don't know. So I got the Raiders to win. I got the Raiders obviously to cover. The one point ain't gonna change anybody's opinion on the win at that point there, and I'm with you on the under.
Sweet.
So, let's get into a game that could be potentially a game or of the week kind of thing. Could potentially be a really boring thing. We'll just have to see what happens there. And that is the Chiefs at the Chargers. Now, this on paper was a game that I really wanted to see this season because obviously, listen, it's a game against a team that's improved that people have thought good things of the last couple years in the Chargers. They've got a good coach in there now. We didn't have a good coach prior. We ragged them every single year the last 3 or 4 years here. Now they get a good coach. The Chiefs are the Chiefs. You want to see what they can do. It's a good test for a team. But Justin Herbert's probably not going to be in this game, guys. And that's a big difference. Today. Well, they even said he's progressing towards probably not playing. They think it might be just the 1 week he'll miss, and that's it. But that means that guess who is their backup, though? A guy we know very well. Taylor Heineke. He's their backup now. So I just don't think that they have a shot of beating the Chiefs without their star quarterback. So I got to go with the Chiefs at that point there. But the Chiefs tend to keep people pretty close. The Chargers are trying to get a little more run game defense, kind of old school football team still. And they're going to probably do that even more without Herbert playing. So I'm going to have the Chargers covering, and I'm going to go under on the points.
Yeah, we're going to hit this trifecta together because We want to talk about injured teams. It is not the Chiefs. They have 4 guys listed whose size Rashid Rice no one's really concerned too much about unless you're a giant Chiefs fan. But when you're talking about the Chargers, they probably have a longer list than the Cowboys and the Giants put together. And you want to talk about guys who did not practice? You got Alt, Boza, Colesman. Like, you don't think that affects their line play over there? You also have you also didn't have a defensive tackle. I don't want to butcher his name. A couple tackles and a cornerback all did not practice today. Like, I'm just saying that because I don't want to butcher names here. But like we said, you got Herbert, you got Davis,
butcher away.
You got Falcon, and you also got Hayden Hurst, who was part of that offense, especially in that run-heavy offense, who did not play. Yes, you have a good head coach over there now, guys, so congratulations. Yes, this head coach is going to want to run the ball, so I think he could be a good fit in just to lead the team to go down there, but I don't know how effective it's going to be when you have to go against the Chiefs defense, who's been a top 5 for the past 3 years. And they have this guy called Mahomes Day or something like that, who's also been pretty good at that quarterback position.
But what about my auto? Because that's the question going on right now. Travis Kelce, where is he at?
Oh, he's probably going to show up with
yards in 3 games, guys. Fantasy people are accepted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all making fun of him. But that's because Pacheco, the running back, got hurt. He's been their star the first 3 weeks, got hurt a little bit. So I would think you would see an uptick with Travis playing this week, getting some more stats. So I'm taking.
He didn't have last week without him.
But didn't he get hurt last week during the game?
No, it was before the game. That's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't know. Something going on there. I'm wondering if time's starting to catch up a little bit with them. I mean,
that's right. Rashid Rice had one that was the top receivers last week.
Yeah, Rashid Rice is up there at that point, But Travis Kelce, people forget sometimes and that's going to sound weird saying it this way, but I think because he's dating Taylor Swift and people forget how old Taylor Swift is, because she's not old in general, but in football, if she was a football pro, she'd be older. Travis Kelce's 34 years old, guys. Things are going to slow down for him one day. Maybe this is what's going on. I don't know. I wish I can give you guys a good answer on that, but I just don't know. It seems weird to just kind of drop off the face of the earth like he has like that. That's not a lot of yards. That's 3 games, guys, that he's basically doing what he used to do in 1 game.
Yeah, don't worry, because Rashid Rice last week doubled his production with 12 catches, 110 yards, 1 run and 1 rushing touchdown. So, yeah.
I don't know, just a little side note. Like I said, it's something to keep an eye on that game, because if 3 games, okay, it's a bad start. But if this continues,
it's definitely something you need to watch out for. But it's also Andy Reid. He likes to switch things up, so I wouldn't sweat it too much yet, because
we'll see.
Look at Mahomes. He's more of a top-paid quarterback that's handed off to his running back in the past 8 games, if you will.
Listen, you want Mahomes to the way he's been playing as well, because he needs something to take the pressure off him at this point. He's got a couple interceptions. His stats aren't that good this year either, Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
I mean, not as bad as Kelsey's are right now, but I mean, it's like
fancy ownership. If you got Josh Allen like this guy, you are happy.
Yeah, he's got 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year so far.
Eek.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. That's some Jameis Winston stats right there.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm taking the Chargers because 8.5 is just a little too rich for my blood, and I'm taking the end of this game for a very I don't want to say defensive, but a very run-filled game, if you will, with a couple tosses of the rock here and there. All right, Sunday night. Night. You got the Bills and the Ravens. And normally you'd be like, wow, this is going to be fantastic. But you got a fantastic team who's playing fantastic. And you got another, what should be a fantastic team, 0-3.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So the Bills are going into Baltimore playing the Ravens, the Lamar Ravens. And it's the Bills are favored 2.5 points in this game, which is just giving a little respect there.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
Yeah. And the over-under over here is 46.5 points. What else can I say? How can you go back from the Bills after the way they've been playing compared to Lamar Jackson? I would love to tell you Lamar's going to have a comeback. Like, he was candidate for MVP last year, 2 years fallen. Like, that's Josh Allen's reigns right now. He's going to be the MVP of the season. I'm taking the Bills to win. They're a healthier team. They've just been looking lights out against everyone they're playing. I'm taking the Bills in the cover, and I'm also taking the over just because Bill Burr, as the head coach, does not let off the ball. It's like he's playing Madden on rookie. He's just going to score.
Hey, Bill Burr.
I did say Bill Burr. Tell me he doesn't look like Bill Burr.
He looks a little like him, but I wouldn't say he's like.
He's just
100%. I mean,
not 100%. He's not.
It's like Sean McDermott looks like he could be like Bill Burr's cousin,
younger, more fit brother,
like cousin.
That's funny. Serious younger brother.
Oh God.
But Bills over.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. And honestly, I think it's kind of a slap in the face the way the points are in this whole thing, because the Bills have looked really good. The Ravens almost lost to the Cowboys last week. Even at that point, it would have been 0-3 at that point going into this game. Would have signaled an 0-4 start for them, which would not have been good. Like, that's hard to come back from at that point. 0-4. If you're a team that wants to go in the postseason, wants to do something on the season at that point, that'd be like, is it time for Harbaugh to go to kind of conversation? And I'll say this, if Harbaugh goes, this season is to get better, and he goes, that guy would have a job within 5 minutes, I guarantee it.
Oh my God, so fast.
Yes.
What he's done for Baltimore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he took a team that was already doing very well for years and maintained it. And I don't think people get enough credit for that kind of stuff. Like, people think that's easy. Like, going from Brian Billick, who was, a coach that had them going good for, a good 10-year stretch, and then he comes in and does it and wins his own Super Bowl and everything too. It's like, that's respect right there, because he's kept that franchise going. But yeah, this is not the week for him. They're going to be 1-3 after this. So Bills, and over. Then we got
Bills.
The double header on Monday night again here. So we got first.
Before we get into this, are you digging those double headers? Like, what do you think? I like that we have to watch football as we podcast. As long as the Giants are playing.
Honestly, I don't like it at all, because I feel like it's taking away from the rest of the week. Like, I like having like 10,000 different games to watch during the week, like.
Oh, so do I.
That's nice. I like that. So I'd prefer just do one. Let it be simple. I have one game to watch. That's it. Now, if you want to stagger them, that's different. But it's kind of hard to stagger and do a later one like that, and then do like a, for the West Coast easy, but for people like us that to go to wake up in the morning, it kind of sucks. But yeah. Honestly, what I would love to see them do, and they won't do it, because there's some kind of law involving it. I would love a Saturday night game. I love a Friday night game.
Yet they're eventually going to get there.
There's some kind of law about that. That's why they snuck in the one game before the college football season started in week 1 on Saturday night. There is some kind of law. I forget the exact law on the books there, but they're legally not allowed to do it. It's a weird.
I don't know there was a law. I just thought it was like a mutual respect thing between the two.
Yeah, no, there's a thing. Yeah. You know what? I'll talk the first game here, and then while we're doing that, I'll look up the law. But it's the Titans at the Dolphins, and guys, this is
ball.
Yeah, this is the game nobody will be watching Monday night. I think we know which game we'll be watching at the 2. That's for damn sure. It's a game I have no interest in whatsoever. And the Dolphins, obviously, who knows what the hell is going to go on at quarterback? That's just an insane, thing going on there. I mean, I don't even know which way to go, because I just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, is Skylar Thompson going to play quarterback? Is Tyler Huntley going to play quarterback? Because even McDaniel said he's not so sure who he wants to even play quarterback this week. So they've been linked like crazy to Bryce Young too, which to me is crazy still. You want to go with the guy who gets concussions to the smallest quarterback in the history of the NFL, basically.
They're looking at half that offense. I guess it fits right in. At least you'll be able to see over that line.
I'm going to go with them doing their thing this week, though, only because it's the Titans, and I just don't like the Titans. I think until they get rid of Will Levis and get a real quarterback, which obviously they don't grow on trees, it's going to be a little trouble for them at that point. So yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins to win. I got the Dolphins to go ahead and cover the 1.5 point spread, and I want to go under on the points, but I want to go under the points mostly because the quarterback situation, the lack of trust on the Titans. I just don't trust that either one of those right now. So I'm gonna go with, like I said, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins to win, Dolphins to cover, and the under.
Yeah, there's a lot of lack of trust on both sides of the ball. Once again, meaning I don't trust the Titans to do what they have to do. I don't trust the Dolphins to do what they have to do on offense and defense when it comes to both of these teams. Like, I don't know which side of these two teams is better or is the worst. Like, it's a pretty even turd sandwich. Like, they spread it around pretty good without Tua.
Diarrhea.
Yeah, without Tua being in there. The one thing that I do feel confident about, I don't want to say I won't feel that confident, is the under, because I don't trust the defenses to be able to stop a Rutgers kid running past him. Like, it's not that good. So I'm taking the under, but like I sat there for a little while trying to figure out who do I want to win this game.
Yeah.
And I just have to trust the more game. I have to trust no. And then they talked about Waddle possibly being hurt, like who's going through the hill, like what's going on in Mozart. Like
Hill's gonna throw to himself and then run down the field and catch it.
Listen, he's fast enough. I just trust more the weapons on Miami to figure something out just enough to win this game. And that's where I was going with this. So did you figure out that law, or do you want
I did, actually. I did. So it is the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. The NFL is not allowed to televise any games on Friday or Saturday from the second weekend in September through the second weekend in December. It is literally a law in the books. And that's why I said week one they stuck with it. I mistakenly said Saturday before. It was Friday. It was that Brazil game they did on Friday, that week one.
That's right.
So, yeah, they're literally illegal. That's ridiculous. That someone call your senators, call your House reps. Insanity.
Well, yeah, they definitely did that for college football, but
no, because Friday is for high school. It's for both.
Yeah.
They even said specifically the Friday is earmarked for high school football and Saturday is earmarked for college.
Okay, let the family time happen, all right? And let's drink beer and family time on
family
the other
time
days.
Watching the TV and watching the NFL.
Yeah. Listen, if they're all drunk watching Friday and Saturday, who's going to play for us in the future? Think of the children.
I'm just saying, I get it. Like,
think of the
I get
children.
it that high school and college football is big to some people and in some places. Like, I get that. Like, there's some high school stadiums, especially in Texas, that are like practically college stadiums there. But it's like, at a certain point, it's like, that's not what we're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to not stop. Oh, well, you can't. I have to protect this. You can't do that. Like, we're not. You protect consumers. You don't protect businesses from other businesses. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous.
That's the thing, because college and high school is not a business.
Bullshit. It's not supposed to be, but it is. In fact, that could be their way. Go, oh, you're doing the NIL and you're paying these guys. Therefore, they're professional athletes. Therefore, it's no longer. There we go. We found the loophole. We're in. There
we go.
Saturday, the NFL coming soon.
Yeah. Live from Brazil, South America, every Saturday.
I don't think football games are coming anytime soon again. Nobody wanted to go. All right, let's get to our last game now.
Last game. We got the Seahawks going to play the Lions. Okay. The Lions are giving up 3.5 points in this game, and the over-under is 47.5. 8.5. Drew, I don't know what you're going with this because you don't got anything in the books, but I'm taking the over in this game because I think the defenses aren't going to show up too much in this game. I think the Lions offense has got to get right, do what they got to do. I'm going to take the Lions to win this game, and I do think they're going to cover. I do think the Seahawks are playing some better football, and I think they're going to kind of underrate it. I don't think they're playing great football. I think both sides of the ball is going to be enough to get over that 50 mark. My supporter, because he hasn't been doing jack and shit.
Yeah. What's up with tight ends not doing anything this whole season, basically? Like Mark Andrews can't even see the field for Baltimore. It's crazy.
No. Well, they got the new guy in tight end over there who's been stealing some of the play, but tight ends in general.
Double tight end set. Lamar Jackson doesn't throw to anybody but tight ends anyway.
Yeah. Just the whole everyone's not doing good in tight end.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. So I did have my over under. Someone deleted it, by the way. So I put it back for you. So yeah, this is, to me, it's going to be a Lions win all around. I think it's going to be an under, though. That's the only thing I disagree with you on. I think the Lions will win. I think the Lions will cover the 3.5 point spread, but I got the under. I think it's going to be a little bit of a lower scoring game than people think because the Lions haven't been putting up tons and tons and tons of points this year. They put 26 against the Rams. That's the most they've done. 16 and 20. This has not been the same offense this year it was last year, guys. So I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. So I got that under going opposite you there at that point. We'll see. That's the deciding factor week 4 at that point to who wins. But yeah, guys, again, tomorrow night, guys, the entire time we will be live for you guys. We'll be on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be on, like I said, kickoff at 8:15, so it gives a little chance to talk about the game beforehand. We'll be on the entire game. We'll even make fun of the people doing the halftime shows. So, then we'll be on the post game. So if you guys are interested in watching the game and a little different, I won't call us the Manning cast. We'll call it the Goofball cast. But, it's going to be a different way of looking at it. And you can go ahead and pop your laptop, pop your cell phone with our show, pop the game on the TV at that point, and go ahead and watch it a little different way there. And plus, you get to see us having all kinds of headphones in our ears as well, because we can't broadcast the game, obviously. So we'll have headphones in to listen to the game while we have also our headphones on so we hear each other at that point. There'll be headphones galore. It'll be a lot of fun. So, oh yeah. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow night for that. Hopefully a Giants win there. I'm really hoping. I'm so tired of losing to the Cowboys. Like I said, we're always live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and of course Rob's favorite. Oh yes,
who's LinkedIn?
My LinkedIn profile. Of course, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones there, Amazon. So if you like both methods, you can like us on everything, guys. In fact, not just because I'm part of the show, but it's also nice to go ahead and subscribe on everything anyway. Because when we go live, my phone lights up with 4 different places telling me we're live. So I've heard a couple people in here saying, oh, YouTube didn't tell me. YouTube didn't tell me. And I get it. It doesn't always. Subscribe and follow on everything. And that's how you're going to find out real quick what's going on there. So appreciate you guys for watching as always. We'll see you tomorrow night for the game. And of course, as always, Giant fans, go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.